Good evening. Today is Thursday, June 13th, 2024. We are at our regularly scheduled 7 p.m. meeting. We will do our opening prayer with Reverend Phil Anderson from the Bethel Church of Tallmadge.
Let's pray. God, we thank you so much for the love that you have for all of us. Your word tells us, God, that we are to pray for our leaders and those that are in authority over us, and that's what we do tonight. And I pray, God, that you would bless them, not only personally, but also in this meeting, Lord God. Give them insights. Lord, any decision that needs to be made, may it be according to what your will is and what you desire. We thank you for our city. We thank you for the great things that you're doing in it. And we pray for your blessing now upon these next few moments. And it's in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, sir. And then this evening's Pledge of Allegiance will be started by none other than A.J. Bozick. So you can step up to the podium.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Jonathan Bolus,
Jonathan is excused.
Adam Bozick.
Here.
Jessica Epstein,
Here.
Mary Gutman,
Here.
Donald Pavlik.
Here.
Ted Roy,
Here.
Nick Rubino.
Here.
Thank you. We have 6 present this evening. Moving on to correcting and adopting the previous meeting minutes from 5/23/24.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion
I'll second the motion.
and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik.
Yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Nick Rubino,
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes. Minutes were approved, 6-0. Moving on to our financial reports. We're in receipt of the fire and EMS funds transfer in the amount of $255,000, the street maintenance and repair fund transfer in the amount of $275,000, the general infrastructure transfer in the amount of $30,000 from the general fund to council on 5/29/24, appropriation report, fund report, and revenue report for the period ending 5/31/24 to council on 6/5/24. May financials report to council on 6/5/24. Tallmadge Recreation Center profit and loss report for the period ending 5/31/24 to council on 6/5/24. The income tax comparisons for the period ending 5/31/24 to council on 6/5/24. Consolidated investment portfolio for the period ending 5/31/24 to council on 6/5/24. The income tax by source report for the month of April to council on 6/5/24. The revenue comparisons for major funds for the period ending 5/31/24 to council on 6/5/24. Can I have a motion to?
Motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion about the reports? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik.
Yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Nick Rubino,
Yes.
Adam Bozick,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein.
Yes.
And the motion passes 6-0. Moving on to our public hearings. We currently have no public hearings this evening. Moving on to item 7, community input. It's at this point in time, anyone in the audience, if they have anything that is they'd like to bring up to council or the administration that is not part of the agenda this evening, you're welcome to step up to the podium, state your name and your address, and you'll be given 2 minutes to speak. Do I have anybody in the audience? Yes, sir.
My name's Jim, and my fiance and I live at 142 Van Ever Road here in Tallmadge. It's on the corner of Van Evera and Carruthers. The drainage ditch, it's like a moat going around our front yard. And I've had amputations, and we're both retired. And we've been mowing it with a regular push mower for quite a while, for about 2 years now. And it's just getting to be too much, and we need help on getting it backfilled in. The other two homes that are on the corner of Van Evera and Carruthers, they've got steel grating, so the city must have done that, because you just don't go out and buy iron grates, sewage grates, and put them in the ground. But we'd appreciate it if Tallmadge could come out and give us some kind of estimate or what to do, because it's getting to be too much to try to mow it. I've rolled my tractor over twice in the ditch.
Gotcha.
So that's about all I got to say.
Well, thank you, Joe. I'll let Mike Rohr speak to this topic.
What was the address again?
142 Van Evera
Van Ever.
Road, right off of 91.
What was your name? I'm sorry.
Jim
Jim.
Bruner, Bruner.
Okay, Mr. Bruner.
Please, just call me Jim.
Okay, Jim, we'll make sure we take a look at that and get back with you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience? No? All right. Moving on to agenda additions. We have several additions for this evening. We have the presentation of an award by Mayor Kilway, and I'll let her speak about the award this evening.
All right, thank you very much. The Portage Development Board is a 501c3 private nonprofit which consists of a board of directors of which I am a member due to part of our city being in Portage County. And their responsibilities include providing assistance to industrial realtors, builders, local industries, and local communities in an effort to maintain and improve the economic base in Portage County. So we do get those benefits within our city limits because we do have Portage County within our city. And last week, I did mention that we had several businesses that received awards during their annual Locate, Stay, and Grow event on May 21st. One of the businesses that is located in the Tallmadge annexed area was not able to attend, and I was very honored to receive the award in their absence. So tonight, I would like to recognize Charlotte and Kenneth Rice of Masters Precision Machining for their continued commitment to Tallmadge and present them with their Grow Award. This award will allow them to create and retain 20 jobs in Tallmadge with their partnership from Jobs Ohio and the City of Tallmadge. So, Charlotte and Kenneth, here's your award. Thank you very much for your commitment to Tallmadge and staying in Tallmadge. You did get a lot of extra awards with this. We have the Certificate of Recognition from the Portage Development Board. I did give you a copy of the program that came with it. Governor, the House of Representatives, David Joyce. Oh my gosh, Ohio Senate, Ohio House of Representatives. You got a lot of nice little awards. Thank you very much for your commitment. We really appreciate it. Small businesses are the backbone of our city and our country, and I really appreciate you staying here in Tallmadge.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Can we get a nice little picture with you, too? All right, thanks. Yeah, we'll just sit right here real quick. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to our next agenda addition this evening, and which is the recognition of the Tallmadge High School track and field team and their coaches, which they may not have known that, and their coaches this evening for the participating in the 2024 OHSAA track and field championships down at Dayton, Ohio. For those of you that aren't track junkies, it takes several meets in order to get to the state tournament. And, it's not just like you win your league, you're in. You have to win several times in order to make it into the state championships. And so I'd like to recognize, I'll start out with Coach Mike Shadawa, and then I'll kind of let him take it over from here. But then if we can also have the rest of the coaches come up, we have Coach Mike Hay, Elliot Tedquist, David Stazak, John Gurgley. We'll kind of give these guys a quick round of applause because of everything that they do. Countless hours, as you know, if you've ever coached, countless hours go into coaching student athletes. And these gentlemen here, they definitely put in extra hours every week. You see them there early mornings, you see them there late at night. So thank you. And I'll let you kind of take it from here, Coach.
Okay. All right. For the recognition, this is a great community, and the support that you guys give to the school and the athletes definitely says a lot. Okay, we had several people who are not here. So Jackson Anderson, Allie Wagner, Bella Richards, and Coco Pooler were all part of our relay alternates, along with Eva Walters. They're not here. So the people who are here, our 4x800 meter relay team for the boys, Colin Adams, Jared Neuenheisen, Joey Naaman, our 4x200 meter relay team of Paula and Cervantes, Carrie Kirko, Emma Bosick, and Allie Hay, who currently is in. She's right there.
Should have brought the fat head.
Our pole vaulter, Kate Archer. 4x800 meter relay team of, which would be Allie Hay, Topanga Ross, Amelia Ross, and Michaela Martuscio. Okay, they did a great job, lots of hard work in order to achieve this. The fact that I have great coaching staff, and I want to thank their families for allowing us to do what they do. So. Okay, and then if I can have Paula and the 4x2 team, the 4x2 team and Kate stay up. Okay, something different that Mile Split currently is doing. They had qualifications for what would be known as a All-American status for the how they performed. All right, so Kate Archer receives an All-American status for clearing 12 feet 6 inches in the pole vaults. The qualifying requirement for that was 12 feet 5 inches. So congratulations, Kate. And for the 4x2, the qualifying standard was 144, and the girls ran a 142.73. So Allie will get one of those along with Paula, Carrie, Emma, okay, and then there's. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, girls. Well, thank you. And again, thanks, coaches. Thank you to the athletes. You guys did. If you've never been to a track meet, and I know the mayor's been, they are one of the most exciting sports you can probably watch. It may only take less than 2 minutes for some events, but Those are very exciting 2 minutes. You can definitely hold your breath for that amount of time because I've done that. But it's just a great sport to watch. So thank you while I walk up to the other.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Bozick, for doing this today. Yes, track and field is very fun to watch. I did come out to a couple of your track meets. You guys are fast, very fast. Congratulations.
All right, thank you. And then, obviously, we don't require you guys to stay here the whole time. So if you would like to get up and leave, that's fine. We'll kind of take a quick little few minutes here while the chamber clears before we continue. But thank you. You're welcome to leave too if you want. All right, thank you. We will continue with our agenda additions. We are on to the mayor's new property maintenance board, and I'll kind of turn it over to her, let her speak to this.
Yes, so the property maintenance board is a part of our zoning code. These individuals need to be available in case there's a property maintenance issue in which somebody is not happy with the outcome of what has happened, and they then need an appeal process. So these people would hear any appeals for any property maintenance concerns. So they only meet as needed for appeals. To date, we've not had to have anybody come to, a meeting for an appeal. So, but we would like to have a property maintenance board active and in effect so that we're ready in case something were to happen. And then I don't need you to approve them. I just need you to confirm them.
Okay.
And I did send out bios on each one of these ahead of time in case somebody doesn't know who these people are. Then it gave you a little bit of information on their activity in Tallmadge.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And just for, I have a few questions about it. If you can just kind of walk us through, prior to this, if there was a concern or an issue, kind of walk us through what the steps would have been prior to this board.
So this was, I believe, part of the new zoning code, so that's why, no, it's not? Okay.
This has pre-existed for a long time. We had a property maintenance board before it was filled. As the mayor mentioned, we have not had the need to call them. In the code, it's a 5-day appeal time, so I think we just want to err on the side of having them ready to go, just in the case that we might need them. But this has been in existence since before I became law director.
I was going to ask you, do you know the last time we had a board or committee?
It's been some time. Again, if there had been an appeal, we would have been able to put one together, but it would have been very quick, and it's just better to have one in place just in case, so.
So is this on commercial property or is this residential property?
It's
or
commercial,
all?
industrial, residential. It's our property maintenance code. It's the complaints that we get with regard to, gutters falling off, windows being broken out, those sorts of things. We send out the zoning inspectors. If there's a property maintenance issue, they can issue a citation, but part of the process is that the person could appeal the code enforcement official if they wanted to.
Okay, thank you.
And all of that was sent to you along with the bios as well.
So in other words, if, it sounds like in the past, or at least recent history, we haven't had the need, no one's appealed, basically,
Right.
any of the concerns.
Ms. Hussing had asked if I would make this a priority to put it together, so.
Gotcha, okay. So it sounds like if we did need it in recent history, we would have to kind of scramble to put some people together on the board to hold a meeting and, okay.
Right, so the thought process is just instead of having to scramble,
Sure.
I think to have the peace of mind that we have
Right.
it ready to go just in case.
Okay. Any other questions from council for the administration?
I just have one small question about the terms. It said that in the information that you sent that they're staggered
Yes.
terms and 3 years.
Right.
is it all right then that they're not staggered, that they're all
They will be
starting now?
staggered. They will
Okay.
be staggered, yes.
They're going to be placed into a term slot that's staggered to begin with, and then as we continue to roll through, it will then be staggered.
Okay,
I was going
gotcha.
to ask, shouldn't we confirm it with the terms, or no, just it's,
If you want to assign the terms, you're welcome to. One of them will be a one-year term, two of them will be a two-year term, and two of them will be three-year
3 years.
terms. And I don't think it makes any difference to us which is what. Yeah.
I think for the sake of us confirming individuals, I think it would be nice to have those terms at least, so we know when these are coming up again. And so is that something that we need to assign? Or is that something?
No, I mean,
the
that's not
administration
really
can assign?
the intent. If you want to confirm each one and say that this is the term, that you can make the motion that way if you really want to.
Okay.
But that's,
And so say again, there's
one of them would be a one-year term, two of them will be a two-year term, and two of them will be a three-year term.
and two would be a 3-year term.
Mr. Bozick,
Yes.
I guess I would suggest that if you'd like to do that, that you just do it by ward rather than person, so that it is just a standard over time that, Ward 1 is 1 year, Ward 2 and 3 are 2 years, Ward 4 and business are the 3-year, and then it's standard. I don't know.
But keep in mind, from here on out, then after that one-year term, it will be renewable for 3 years. So
Yeah.
they'll be on a 3-year term after that. So it's only for the initiation of refilling the board that it would
Right.
be.
I mean, I don't
finished.
intend to make the motion, I was just,
Yeah, you could just go down the list.
And I do appreciate that. Thanks, Mary, because that's exactly what we were planning on doing. So I did not realize that I needed to have that in front of us in order for you to get these confirmed. So we do have that already together. I just don't have it in front of me. But if that's how you would like to do it, we're fine with that.
well, if that's okay with you, then I would make that motion.
Second?
You want to formulate the motion again? So
Yeah.
Ward 1 would
Yeah,
be a
what-
one-year term, Ward 2 and 3 would be 2-year terms, Wards 4 and the business owner would be 3-year terms.
Yes, so I would make the motion as the law director has stated it,
And that you wish to
to
confirm all
confirm
5.
all 5 positions.
Thank you.
question, and it's just 5, we don't need 6 or 7, I mean, it's
Nope,
just.
it's 5.
Just
Wa-
5.
And it states that you got to have someone representing from a ward?
One from each ward and one from a business.
Got it, okay.
And that's the second paragraph of the appeals.
I think you just need a second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second, and the motion is to go 1 year in Ward 1, 2 years in Wards 2 and 3, 3 years in Ward 4 in business owner. Is that correct, Ms. Goodman? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? It's funny how everyone's brain works differently. I was actually going to go the opposite way, go 3, 2, 1, but, so. Any further discussion on this, board?
And a point of clarification, just that you're also included in the motion was that you're confirming everyone this.
Yes, then that we are confirming all 5 members with 1 vote. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Nick Rubino,
Yes.
Adam Bozick,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
All right, all 5 members are confirmed with a vote of 6-0. And thank you, Mayor Kilway, for bringing this board back, and hopefully we won't have to use them.
Exactly, thank you.
So,
Always best to be prepared, correct?
all right, moving on to item 9, reports of our administrative officers. We'll start with Mayor Kilway.
Sure. Sorry, could you pass the clicker? I do have a PowerPoint. I will wait for Mrs. Burton to get it up and ready. Just click Start Slideshow. Okay, thank you very much. See if I can get this going. And the clicker's not working. Yep, there we go. Okay, we were privileged to attend the Veterans Flag Ceremony at R.W. Martin and Sons, and this was the Friday right before Memorial Day. I've never seen a flag change ceremony before, and this was impeccably done. It was so refreshing to see all of these employees who are all veterans. R.W. Martin and Sons, they have employees all over the United States, and they actually flew some of their employees in that were veterans in order to do the flag ceremony. It was a great way to start Memorial Day weekend. We also, at the flag ceremony, we had the American Legion from both Tallmadge and Stowe posts were there, and that's who was right over here. Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony was a great event. I want to thank everyone, especially the service department, for making the city look spectacular. It was a great event. 156 consecutive. We're very, very lucky to have that going on in our town. We also had our 2024 Employee Service Award Luncheon. There was approximately 40 employees that were honored with this. We had an Olympic theme. I want to thank Tish Rowland for helping to organize this. Helene Hussing helped, Andrea helped, Kelly downstairs, she helped, a number of people helped put this together. We had people that received awards from their 5-year all the way up to 40 years of service. And just coincidentally, I'm going to say it, the 40-year person was my husband, Tom. And he just passed the 41-year mark. So he's the longest-serving city employee right now. And I do want to thank Councilwoman Epstein for attending this as well. Thank you. We also had the ribbon cutting at RE/MAX Diversity in Tallmadge. Most of you know Jody Rearick. She's a phenomenal realtor and businesswoman. She's growing her business immensely, and she's moved over to the old Savasco jewelry store, and she's already talking about expanding. It's just wonderful, everything that she's done. I'm very proud of her. Today, we opened up the Tallmadge Farmers Market. Andrea has worked extremely hard on this. She always does. I just came back from it about this afternoon. 53 vendors this year. That's the largest that it's ever been. And there's room for growth as well. And I just want to thank Andrea for all of her hard work. These signs that are up here, Andrea visited the 3rd and 4th graders to speak about the farmers market, and each of the kids created a piece of advertisement, and she's going to be using a different one of these drawings each week to advertise for the farmers market. And I think it's just a cute little way to, add some pizzazz to our advertising for that. That's all that I have with PowerPoint, but I do have some other items as well. I did not get a picture, but I did go to the Touch a Truck on Saturday, this past Saturday. It was a great event to see all of our trucks shined up pretty. I have to say, when I walked by our service department as well, we all know that the fire trucks and the police trucks are always kept nice. Walk past the service and, our dump trucks are just immaculate. They really are. But if you go into that service, if you go into 210 Osceola at any time and you walk into the garage, they're always that clean. They keep things amazing, and so kudos to them. Thank you. We also are still planning the Circle Fest and Light Parade. August 10th. Is council going to have golf carts or something this year?
Yes, I reached out to Becky Holman.
Okay. Because there are forms you have to fill out.
Yeah, a few evenings ago.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
yep.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure so that I know to make sure you guys are all included in that. I also want to recognize our Tallmadge Police Department has issued some commendations. We don't realize what our safety forces do on a daily basis. Officer Mike Scholes received a letter of commendation. Officer Joe Svidron received a recognition of excellence commendation. Sergeant Orsine, Officers Bisler, DiLorenzo, Scholes, and Lampley received recognition of excellent commendations. Sergeant Heatwall, Officers Ickes, and And also, our service department, Ben Newman, also received recognition for excellent commendations as well. And just some of the things that they did, it's really amazing. The recognition of excellence for communication for Officer Joe Svidron was for the handling of a very dangerous subject on Beekler Road back on May 4th. He was able to diffuse the situation, and the subject had shot at a house in Akron minutes before. He did an exceptional job apprehending the subject, handling with multiple suspects, and assisted Akron PD collecting the evidence for their charges and recovered the weapon that was used by the drive-by. They're very thorough and do their job amazingly. Sergeant Orsine, Officers Bissler, DiLorenzo, Scholes, and Lampley for their handling of a burglary pursuit on April 22nd. Officer Scholes received the award of letter of commendation for his handling of several CIT calls, which are persons in crisis. And then Sergeants Heatwall, Officers Ickes, and our Ben Newman from our city garage received that recognition for their service to a homeless veteran and just helping them out. I just really want to recognize our safety forces for what they do. So the police had a good run at it this last month, I should say. And also our fire department, they received a letter of gratitude from the city of Kent for their quick response to of our EMS crew. And just quickly, there was a structure fire in the early morning hours of May the 12th in Kent. The fire had made considerable headway prior to their arrival, and there were multiple victims that had jumped or were thrown from the porch roof prior to Kent Fire crews arriving. Our Tallmadge EMS arrived on scene and quickly treated and transported some of the victims to a local hospital. And so without our mutual aid, that morning, they definitely would have been overwhelmed. And so the city of Kent is just very appreciative of our mutual aid and our quick response on that. Economic development, I'm saving that for last. Yes, we did some business retention meetings over the last couple weeks. We did visit with LEPO. We had very good conversations with them. Visited a couple of the smaller businesses, Tiny Circuits. They manufacture very small electronics that actually work. They have a TV that's literally 1 inch by 1 inch that you can turn on. It has a remote. You can download different things to it. It's intriguing what they do. And they also have an autonomous golf caddy that they're working on for, I think it's for Club Cart is what it's called, where literally you can put your golf bag in this little cart. You have a little clip on the back of your belt, and you just walk, and this thing follows you at like 5-6 feet behind you. When you stop, you can flip a switch, it'll stop. You can go get your golf clubs, and it was fantastic. And they make them here in Tallmadge. We also went to Green Technology of Ohio, which is a large stamping company. And then finally, we are, like I had mentioned earlier, we were working on the West Avenue overlay, and we were working with our Department of Administration, our Planning and Zoning. We're working along with Insight we've mapped out the area on West Avenue, and we hand-delivered letters to the businesses along that area to come to like a stakeholder meeting that we're going to have on June the 27th. It's at 8:00 a.m. at the Ritchie Center, Ritchie Hall, and I want to invite council to that as well for your observation so that you can see what goes on, what our businesses are going to say about putting this overlay on. So would love to see you in 2 weeks at 8:00 in the morning over at the Ritchie Center. Any questions? Okay, end of report.
Thank you, Mayor. We will turn it over to our Director of Administration.
Thank you, Council President Bozick, Council members, Mayor, Directors of Law and Finance, Service Director Rohr. Good evening. I just, not my prepared remarks, but I just want to really give a shout out to Andrea. Today was the first time I've been to the farmer's market, and it was absolutely amazing. As the Mayor said, there were 53 people signed up. We have 80 people signed up for over the course through October. So we anticipate it to be well attended. So fantastic event. So I know you know that, but I just really wanted to It's amazing what Andrea does in her community development role, and just part of that, and the great partnership we have with the rec department down there. As the mayor's report shows, it's been a busy couple of weeks since I started. I've completed, today's actually my month that I've been here. And as a follow-up to my last report, just wanted to let everybody know that we have concluded our meetings with potential partners to assist us as we look at developing a strategic plan. That strategic plan is going to include input. We plan to include input from council, community, business members, all stakeholders. So we've talked to a couple of different organizations. We have some models. We're in final discussions and more to follow about that. But this is really going to be our roadmap to the future. It's different than the comprehensive plan that was done in 2017 or the community survey that was done in 2013. The 2013 community survey informed the 2017 strategic plan, comprehensive plan, and that comprehensive plan was really focused on zoning and getting the citizens' input and getting to where we want to be. We've had adjustments to that along the way, culminating to where we are today with the West Avenue overlay and future overlays that have been through the building and zoning process and the public hearings. So a really exciting time to see where we're going with that, to be partnering with everybody, partner with everybody to build a strategic plan to really guide us from 2025 to 2030 and beyond. So I'm ecstatic to be back, to be working with all of you, the team on the administration. It's really a great time to be back in Tallmadge. So thank you. That concludes my report, pending your questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Director of Administration? No, thank you. And it's very nice to finally get a chance to meet you. And welcome to Tallmadge again. So
Thank you. I appreciate it.
moving on to our Director of Public Service.
Good evening. Real quick, ordinance 2024-42, keep in mind, this is an MOU to share the vaults that are along the conduit run and the fiber optic run from Britton Road up to the joint dispatch area. And the reason why we're joining it is the road right-of-way was not wide enough to put two of the vaults side by side. You can see there we'd either be in the sidewalk or we'd be in the ditch enclosures or the ditches. So it depends, and the county was on board with just sharing it, but we need to get that MOU so we can get access to those vaults in the future if we need it. Great news, finally, the 89 East Howe Road demolition is complete. It turned out to be a great project, and I'd like to compliment the contractor, Pro Quality. Outstanding job. I mean, they were professional, did a great job, and did everything we asked them to. And I've never seen grass actually grow as fast as a company's got that grass growing up there. So they did a nice job. Moving on to the monthly report for last month, the zoning department did 111 total permits. They were issued 52 of which were street openings and 40 were zoning certificates. Keep in mind that's fences, pools, anything like that. Code violations 68. It is summertime, so keep that in mind. That's why we have so many. 18 were property disrepair, and then 18 were high grass. They're, again, not that bad when you live in the city with this many residents. Cemetery, 4 total burials. 3 were full, 1 was a cremain. Parks and Rec, membership was up about 10% from last year. The visits were up about 3. Summer camp started June 3rd, farmers market opening today. Music on the Circle coming up next is Sensational Soul Brothers, June 20th. Rec Center will be closed July 4th for Independence Day. The new shelter at Lions Park is officially open, so the building department did the final walkthrough, and we are going to start renting that out next week. If you haven't seen it, stop at Lions Park. It's behind Lions Lodge. It's a great shelter. Howe Road Park, the renovations are complete. However, we're waiting on the building department to do the final walkthrough so we can open that shelter as well as the restroom. The dog park might be a while. We seeded it, and guess what I'm lacking now is rain. So we'll probably introduce some water cannons over there to try to get that going. However, you can imagine that grass will have to be pretty well established before we open up to dogs, because the dogs will probably have that torn out in no time. Moving forward, Maca Pool is open. First Marlin swim meet is June 17th at 4 p.m., so the park will be, the pool will be closing for that meet. Aquazuma class being offered on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. to 8 p.m. Water aerobics class being offered Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 10:15. This weekend, due to graduation parties and vacations, we are probably going to limit access to members only and their guests. It appears that the lifeguards and the safety issues are going to be, we want to make sure that there are no safety issues. So we're probably going to limit the park to members only and their guests. So just letting you know. I mean, if we can pull off a miracle and get some more lifeguards, but it's not looking like we're going to. So there again, that's the hamstring you get when you hire high school kids and college kids. So, but it is what it is. Moving on, street department. Concrete maintenance and repair is scheduled to end July 17th. So the rain we were having delayed these guys. They're doing a decent job. Worco's a contractor. Asphalt paving program is scheduled to begin July 8th. That's Cardinal. This is the third year they've had that contract, so they do a decent job. 3.5 tons of street debris was removed from street sweepings. 318 lineal feet of ditching was done. 5 catch basins were repaired. 3 drive culverts were replaced. However, what was the big thing the street department was doing, and they are kind of more of the public works department in this aspect, is they were getting the city ready for Memorial Day. So all the mulch, the plantings, everything that was done, they did a great job. As the mayor brought up, city looks pretty good. Utility department, hydrant flushing was completed. 2 water main breaks, Geneva, and gosh, I can't remember where the other one was at. Nope. 254 lineal feet of sanitary sewer was televised, 300 lineal feet was cleaned, 4 water valves were exercised, 3 backflows were installed. These are our own backflows that we install annually. It's due to our irrigation system, so at the soccer field here and at Maca Pool, we install our own backflows and take them off each winter. And lead and copper identification of the service lines are ongoing. And that concludes my report unless there's any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the service director? I actually have a couple for you, sir.
Great.
So I know on, and you don't have to be specific, obviously, about addresses or anything, but I know on Southwest Avenue, as you're heading towards the Duke Station, I know that there's a few properties that might look like they're abandoned or maybe not. Maybe nobody lives there currently. So didn't know if that was something that you had on your radar or not, but just maybe take a drive down through there once.
Southwest?
Southwest Avenue. Or, I'm sorry, Southeast Avenue.
Southeast.
I'm sorry, Southeast.
Halfway down. Just past Elm.
Yes, there's one there.
Take a look.
There might be one other, but I'm not sure. My other question is, I know we had asked about the pavilion names. We got some information from the Parks Department about that. My only question would be the 2 pavilions that are currently in Lions Park that have a name on them. Do we know what constituted getting those names put on that pavilion? Was that something like a donation from that family, or we named it in honor in a resolution or something like that?
No, we went to the Historical Society. We've asked longtime employees, and nobody could tell us any reason why those
So
are
they
there.
made their own sign and put it up.
Could have, yeah. And we've, it could have been Lions himself. I mean, at the end of the day, but there's no history on it. And we've just upgraded all the shelter names to those more generic park-like ones. So
Gotcha, yep.
as you go through now, you'll see new signs on all those shelters that have the more generic park names on them.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't, rename something if we've been given funds for that particular pavilion or anything like that.
And if something comes up, we'll be happy to readjust that. But we
Sure.
couldn't find any history on anything.
Great. And then my other question is, occasionally we'll get, those of us on council will get questions like, what do we do if there's a dead animal on the roadside, or if there's a bunch of litter on the roadside or something like that? Can you kind of walk us through what the service department's role is or not is in that particular?
Sure. So, first of all, call the city, non-emergency number, if there is a issue like that. And if it's during the 8-hour day, we'll be happy to go out and address those issues. If it's after hours, depending on what it is, that goes into overtime. So, and if it's on the weekend, that's also the same thing. But if we got a guy in that's watering flowers, or if there's a cemetery issue going on, that there's a burial, we'll probably send the guys over there to address whatever that is. The dead animal issue, the EPA has gotten involved in that, and you just can't handle the dead animals like you used to. So now that it might be 24 hours before we get to those animals. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Thank
yeah,
you.
just call in and we'll make sure it gets addressed.
Thank you. Any other questions for the service director?
Yeah, Director Rohr, do we have any parks in the city, like playground areas that are fully fenced?
No, the closest one we probably have is Memorial Park. It's probably 2/3 fenced. But the fence side is towards the street and the parking lot. So the rest of it would be towards the open park. So that's probably the one that's closest to being completely fenced.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our Director of Finance.
Good evening. Everybody received the financial reports. One item to point out to council is we have received our first half of property taxes since the revaluation. I did explain in my report, we saw about a 27% increase between our general fund property tax and our police pension fund. The fire EMS levy, because that's voted millage, that does not increase proportionally to the valuation, so we're only seeing a 2% increase there because that levy is set at a dollar value and it does not increase proportionally. So some property owners' property taxes were reduced in that area and increased in others. So I just did want to point that out. That's something different, and I know the property evaluations was a big item that was out there for a while. So just giving council an update on that. Our income tax continues to come in well. It looks like our net profit returns really increased with the filing of the April 15th return. So it probably some lower estimates from the previous year, and they owed more at the end. So everything seems to be moving in a positive direction. And if anybody has any specific questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them.
Finance Director Gilbride,
Yes.
when you mentioned in the Parks and Rec report that there was an adjustment made to summer camp revenue due to a double posting on the
Yes.
first installment, how much was that?
It was $14,000. So I had noted when I was compiling my reports, the increase in that summer camp revenue looked very high to me. So when I went back and dug in, and I did not want to present that kind of an increase to council, so I went ahead in this report, reduced the revenue by the $14,000. So this revenue that you see in my report is the corrected revenue for the month of May. However, because I'd already closed the month and ran like 90% of my reports, we made the adjustment to the revenue on the June side.
Okay.
But I didn't want to include that to make it look like our revenue was overstated in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for our Finance Director? I just had one question, and it more came from someone had a concern about their water bill increase, and I know that the rates coming up in the next several years are based on the index. So based on kind of what we know now, do we have kind of a set idea of what our upcoming rates are going to be over coming into this next upcoming year? We already know the percentage, correct?
So we do not currently have another, we know the rate increases that we are receiving from Akron and Summit County. We have not, since the last increase that took place at the beginning of 2023, we have not added an additional sewer rate increase. So that's on the sewer side. There are currently no scheduled water rate increases at all. We actually have not had a water rate increase since 2012. So
Got it.
there will likely, we have probably looking with Akron, we have our water contract coming due. We're likely going to have to contemplate that. The rate increases that we put into effect in 2022 and 2023, they were pretty significant. They were 16% each of those years. In looking at those, I think that will allow us to kind of sit maybe for a couple years without any increases on the sewer side, knowing that our water rate will likely be the subject of our next item. But overall, right now we don't have any planned increases, but we know what our increases are, and I have looked at if those increases that we instituted can last for a while. But we do need to do a more, and I've actually looked at some software, a more comprehensive rate study so that we can have a planned out small increases instead of constantly catching up. And I am looking into moving in that direction.
Gotcha. And correct me if I'm wrong, we have a, based on water usage for our commercial side, it's in a tiered system, correct? So based on the volume of water usage, or am I?
Yes, all of our bills are based on volume. But the tiered system that we have, there's the first tier, which is basically up to there's a flat rate up to a certain amount of usage,
Right.
depending on your rate code. Then the second tier is actually so large that there's very few people that actually get into like the third tier. So for instance, on our sewer bills, the second tier is from 2,000 cubic feet, I think, to 80,000 cubic feet. So residents aren't gonna use 80,000 cubic feet of water. So there's a lot to be revisited. Our rate, I don't know when
So
they
that'll be
start-
part of that
Yes,
study.
that's gonna be part of
Okay,
the whole
that's what
thing.
I was
Yes,
gonna,
yes,
reason
that
I
would be
asked, because
part
I
of-
want to, I think that should
Looking
be,
at the software, yes, the whole entire structure of how our
Sure.
rates are coded would be part of that.
great. Great to hear. Thank you. Any further questions?
Ms. Gilroy, when does our water contract end with Tallmadge? I'm not sure.
With Akron?
Akron, with Akron.
In the December, or January of 2025.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions from council? Nope. Thank you. Moving on to Director of Law.
Thank you. So you may recall that I've mentioned that we are doing a recodification this year. We are working very hard on that right now. What that will do is we're taking a look at our entire code, all of our codified ordinances, and trying to eliminate obsolete provisions, duplicate provisions, reconcile things with state law that need to be reconciled with state law. It's a big undertaking. I am at this point anticipating hopefully getting it to council. I'm gonna say the end of August, beginning of September, and it will be it will be a process to go through that and review, but it will be the end product. I'm excited will be a much needed, refined codified ordinances, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to that, as much work as it will be. So just want to give you a heads up that that's coming your way soon.
Could I jump on that?
Sure.
The problem is that we have so much obsolete material in those. And so it'll be refreshing to actually have things that are relevant. So as much as I'm not looking forward to it, I'll be excited to have it done.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for our Director of Law? I just have one quick question about, so every year during our council meetings, we have, ordinance 2024-37, 47, so on. From my experience, I don't think there's an easy way on our website that really lists out every ordinance. Is that just like a feature that can be turned on our website? Or do you have to actually drill down into each agenda to find each
I think
individual
I think you
ordinance?
can use the search engine
can search it?
to look up the legislation that's related to that. So you should be able to type in the keyword that you're looking for, and it should pop up that legislation that's been placed on the, it's called like the, I didn't know you were gonna ask this, so I didn't have
That's fine.
the name, but there is like a place for all the documents, like a document center or something, it's called
Yes.
like that. And so as the agenda items come up and every single link that you see in your agenda, those documents remain online and they're searchable and stored. And the nice thing about this recodification that I'm really excited about too is what that will do is you can type in that a keyword and you can search both the ordinances itself and the codified ordinances, where right now to see like the codification of it, you have to go to a separate provider. So it will be all through Civic Plus. So it will have some really nice
Right.
searchability features and be much more user-friendly is the goal.
That's great. Great to hear, because I know just from my experience, the having to look for, I end up trying to remember when the ordinance happened and trying to find it in the agenda, but
So
it sounds like I could probably do a search instead.
Right,
so.
and council does have access to an internal, your internal drive, and that is all on a place on the share drive where it says legislation, and then you can go to the ordinance index, look up your keywords, search that way. You can also always ask your clerk of council to help with anything too.
And just to clarify that, so I kind of went through it. On the main page, there's one of the round buttons at the bottom is called Document Center. If you go in there, go under City Council, go under ordinances and resolutions, and you can find them there.
Great, thank you.
But it seems like you have to go to past ordinances, and then it only goes back to 21.
So we didn't have Civic Plus, like,
Got it.
we weren't doing, well, we had Civic Plus earlier than that, but they weren't putting the documents on there. So if you want something that's older than that, if you're someone from the public, you can always call and make a records request through Sue. You can use the website to make that and send that request, or if you're council people, you can use the internal search.
Great, thank you. Any further questions for our Director of Law?
Although, one other thing I did want to mention, and I greatly appreciate the mayor's office for this. So a little while ago, when we reworked my old law library into an office, we started to take all of the old codification, old codes, old ordinances, and thankfully through the mayor's office, the front desk staff has been helping us scan those and itemize those so that they also will be online. Because again, with those, some of those were all paper versions, so we're hoping to digitalize even the oldest stuff that we've had on file.
I was wondering
So
about that, too.
We're working
Yeah.
on that project
That's
as
gr-
well.
wow, that's a huge undertaking.
It is, and again, I appreciate the mayor's office and the staff people who've been very helpful in making that happen. So we're well on our way, and it's been a project too, but we're working on that as well.
Great, thank you. All right, moving on to reports of standing committees of Council of the Whole. Let's start with our Planning and Zoning Committee. Councilwoman Gutman.
Thank you, Mr. Bozick. I will call Planning and Zoning to order. We have no legislation before us tonight. Does anyone have anything for Planning and Zoning? Okay, then. Seeing nothing, I will close committee.
Thank you. Moving on to finance, Councilman Pavlik.
The Finance Committee deals with the budget, appropriations, reappropriations, bonds, franchises, investments, and expenditures. We currently have two ordinances, one in third reading and one in first. First ordinance is in third reading, ordinance 2024-37, authorizing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids and the mayor to enter into a contract for miscellaneous repairs and remodeling on Fire Station 1 at 85 West Overdale Drive and providing for immediate enactment. This resolution has been sponsored by Public Service Director, Mr. Rohr. Mr. Rohr, I know an email was sent with plans. Do you want to update us on it?
Yeah, it's pretty much a remodeling, painting, flooring, some tiling, some restroom fixtures. It's nothing too crazy. It's just a remodeling project. So,
Thank you. Is there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. And again, I didn't look too deeply in some of the last few pages, the boilerplate topics that are in the contract or the bid packet, but I know in the past, we've had a couple of projects that we've had some concerns about and issues when it comes in terms of subcontracting. So I didn't know if that was listed out somewhere in there. When we do have our main general contractor, what's permitted as far as subcontracting, but then can that subcontractor go to another subcontractor, to another, so.
it's not quite that detailed, Councilman, but they do have to give us their subcontractors. So, and we have every right to vet them and to review them and deny them.
Okay. And do we have, probably more of a question for our law department when we move forward? And this is a project I'm probably not that concerned about, but for other projects in the future, is that something that we kind of addressed in our contracts with reassigning to another subcontractor?
We'll look to address it, but the reality is that a lot of these projects, the bigger they are, they're going to have subcontractors. So that's a reality that most construction projects will come with, and so.
Right.
Yeah.
But at least having a vetting process or, they have to meet XYZ requirements.
They have to list who they're using, and
Yes.
if there's a red flag on any of them, we'll
Got
deny it. And they got to pick another one.
Great, thank you. And I know the other question would be if we had built into any of our contracts a way to basically back charge them for opening late, more or less. So if they didn't meet the deadline that we had set in place, then there's,
There's penalties.
penalty, basically.
There's
Okay,
penalties in it.
great.
And then we have their bond as well. It's a 2-year bond, so.
Okay, thank you.
I have just one question, not necessarily related to this specific bid, but I did receive a constituent question in general who has a business. Is there a requirement with the city or preferential bidding to union workers?
Union, prevailing wage. It's not so much union, but they have to do prevailing wage, which
Okay.
is union scale for the most part.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Since this is in third reading twice, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2024-37.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Nick Rubino,
Yes.
Adam Bozick,
Yes, I'm sorry.
Point of order, that we need to ask for if there's any discussion, is that what you're?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what I was
Yeah.
pointing out,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know if there is any discussion.
Any discussion? All right. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik.
Yes. Okay, with that, the motion passes 6-0.
Thank
you. Next up, we have first reading for ordinance 2024-47, appropriating additional funds for dispatch services from the Summit Area Regional Council of Governments SARCOG, and providing for an immediate enactment. Sponsor of this ordinance is Director of Finance, Molly Gilbride. The ordinance has been read into record. Is there any comments, Ms. Gilbride?
So at the beginning of May, I was contacted by Summit County as they were closing their books. They realized on their fourth quarter billing for 2023, the person who was doing the calculation had only pulled one pay period of payroll instead of the whole quarter's worth of payroll. So this bill is basically a reconciliation, and because it was for last year, we do not have the funds appropriated to pay it. We let, those funds lapse at the end of the year. They did send me the payroll reports and all of the backup to and I reviewed it, and it's legitimate. And actually, after re-looking at the bill, after they sent that, the first bill, they billed us for $25,000 of payroll for a quarter, which we pay 11%. So they operated a full dispatch center for, 3 months, because it was fully operational by that time. It wouldn't have been, $300,000 of payroll. They employ 40 dispatchers. So I did review everything. It is legitimate, and so because we did not budget to have 2023 and 2024 dispatch payments in 2024, I need a reappropriation.
So question, we would have been short 90,606 or less in our budget in '23, or around that amount, right?
No, we would have paid it out of our 2023 budget, but because we let the appropriation lapse.
Okay, all right.
But that amount was budgeted, the higher amount was,
We would have had the money in 2023 to pay it had we.
So that budgeted line
that was the
item.
bill, yes, yes.
That budget line item was less.
Right, it was, yes.
So I have a question for Director of Finance. I do, and I don't recall what the name of your committee was, but if you recall, I had asked a question when we were getting into the dispatch center about do we have a board? And you had talked about, it's like the Director of Finances from all the different
Right, we have a
groups.
finance
We
committee.
have finance. So other cities were also, I'm assuming,
Every
part of it, and
every
they all
member,
got this
all have
surprise
got-
bill.
Everybody has gotten this bill.
Got
Now,
it, so,
I don't know when other councils have seen it or what their appropriation situation is. I don't know any
Right.
of that. We haven't actually had a meeting since this bill came out, but yes, this isn't just Tallmadge, it's
and obviously,
affecting all.
I'm not saying you guys didn't do your job, I'm just saying, like, everybody kind of missed this, I guess if we're all reviewing it, different finance directors across different cities, everyone kind of missed it or didn't really even have a chance to kind of comprehend it because it's such a new thing.
Correct, we
and
didn't had no expectation of what the
of what
Right,
the
like
bill was
what the
supposed
bill
to
was
be.
supposed to be,
Right.
so it kind of was one of those, like I said, looking back on it, I'm like, oh, well, that was kind of odd.
Sure. Great. Thank you.
Any further questions? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-47.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Nick Rubino,
Yes.
Adam Bozick,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
yes.
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Ted Roy.
Yes.
Okay, with that, ordinance 2024-47 passes with a motion of 6-0. That is all for the ordinance this evening. Is there anything else that needs to come before finance? Hearing none, I will close finance.
Thank you, sir. And I will hand it right back over to you for personnel.
Okay, the Personnel Committee deals with personnel, labor relations, insurance claims, rules of council, and state statutes. There is currently no legislation before Personnel Committee tonight. Is there anything else that needs to be brought before Personnel tonight?
Just have a question for administration. I know we were kind of waiting for direct administration to step on board for our union contracts and those negotiations. Have we kind of sat down at that table yet, or kind of give us a brief update?
Yeah, we are actively moving forward with that. I'll let Mr. Ignazito say anything that he would like at this time.
We'll be notifying the unions probably in late June, early July, that we'll be beginning negotiations within the period allotted by law, and then we'll start negotiations with all 5 unions.
Great.
We'll initially start them off staggered, not all on the same day or week,
Right.
but we'll be concurrently going through negotiations with the 5, for the 5 contracts.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions coming before Personnel? Hearing none, I will close Personnel Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to our Safety Committee, Councilman Rubino.
Thank you. Safety Committee deals with disaster services, communications, fire, and paramedics, police, and health. We do have one ordinance listed today. It's a first reading for ordinance 2024-45, authorizing the approval and adopting the Summit County Hazard Mitigation Plan and providing for an immediate enactment. Sponsors Mayor Kilway. Mayor, do you have anything you'd like to say about that?
Yeah, basically, FEMA requires that, that we have these disaster mitigation plans in effect. This was put together by Summit County for all of us to review and to pass. So if you want to take some time to look at it, it is a very large document. If you want to take a look at it, I skimmed it, I've not read it completely through, so if you want to give it another reading so that everyone's more informed, we can discuss it more next time.
Okay, we can go to second reading on that.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All right, with that, I will close Safety Committee.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Community Issues, Councilman Roy.
Community Issues Committee deals with Parks and Recreation, Civil Affairs, and liaison between council and the Recreation Board and intergovernmental affairs. Tonight, we have a second reading of ordinance and resolution, ordinance 2024-44, public hearing on June 27th, 2024 at 7:05, extended a moratorium and acceptance of a zoning application for an adult use cannabis operation and providing for immediate enactment. Do we have any comments or?
I have a question for the law director. Last time, when this was read, first reading, you had requested from the public, we would like your feedback, and I was wondering if your office has received any feedback?
We have not.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question. Did anyone else on council or administration receive, there was a question asked about a dispensary going in our opinion as to whether council would approve or not approve of a dispensary going in. It was into Midway Plaza.
I'm not aware of that communication, so
All
if you
right.
receive
I will
something.
forward that over. It just dawned on me as we were discussing it that we received, I know at least I received one notification. Did anybody else? No. All right, thank you. I guess it's on me, so.
So obviously, I guess if you do receive something like that, obviously it's still pending, and you can certainly express your own opinion, but you need to make clear if you even wanted to do that, or you can say that you're still under consideration, or however, I don't know, whatever way you might want to do that, but obviously, you can't really speak to which way council will decide on it, since we don't really know which way you all are leaning on this issue anyway, so, just a friendly reminder.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, move on. First readings on ordinance and resolutions 2024-46, an ordinance providing and adopting the Summit County 911 plan and providing for immediate enactment. Sponsored by Mayor Kilway.
Yes, so this is just the approval of the Summit County 911 plan. We do have to support and approve it through a resolution in accordance to Ohio Revised Code 128.08. If you, again, we want to just go ahead and give this another reading, that is fine as well.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and have that go into second reading next time. Any additional items tonight? Okay, at this time, I'll close community issues. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to our Public Service Committee with Councilwoman Epstein.
Thank you. I call Public Service Committee to order. The Public Service Committee deals with streets, highways, sidewalks, buildings, and improvements, water, sewer, electricity, gas, energy resources, recycling, waste, and trash. This evening, we have before us second reading ordinance number 2024-42, Exhibit A, authorizing the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement between the County of Summit and the City of Tallmadge for maintenance of vaults and co-located fiber optic cables, juvenile court to PSAP run, and providing for immediate enactment. The sponsor is Mayor Kilway. This is second reading, but I didn't know if there's anything that you'd like to add, or Service Director?
No, these are the vaults that Service Director Rohr had discussed earlier. I think we're ready to go with this anytime, or do you want to give it another reading?
It's fine if it goes another reading.
I make a motion to pass.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Please call the roll.
Point of order.
Sorry.
Yep.
Felt like I was forgetting something. Is there any discussion?
I just have one question for our Service Director. In this agreement, because we are sharing the vaults, is there anything in there that you jumps out that says this might be a long-term ongoing maintenance issue for the city, or become a liability for the city, or anything like that? No?
No, it's just, we just want to make sure that we have access to those.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Adam Bozick,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
Don Pavlik,
Yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Nick Rubino,
Yes.
Ordinance number 2024-42 has passed with a vote of 6-0.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. We have nothing else before us this evening. Is there any other comment for public service? All right, hearing none, I close committee.
Thank you. Moving on to reports of special committees. We don't really have anything to report for Council of Operations Committee. Moving on to announcements, I guess my only announcement would be those of us on council who would be attending the Light Festival. We need to, I'll submit that application in, make sure we have golf carts that function fully. No pushing of golf carts anymore.
How many golf carts are we gonna need? Two?
I think in the past, we've used two.
I've got one.
I got
Two or
one.
three potentially, I think would probably suffice, so.
Yeah, Nick and I have one, so.
All right. Are they gassed up, charged up, good to go? Yeah? All right. All right, thank you. Any other announcements? Hearing none, I will take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk?
Adam Bozick,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Nick Rubino,
Yes.
Thank you. The time is 8:20 PM, and we are adjourned.